Can the San Francisco 49ers offense, led by Kyle Shanahan, sustain 4,000-yard receivers on the year? That's a tough task to ask for, but we're going to break it down and see why it could be a possibility heading into next season. The stakes are high for the San Francisco 49ers. Lots of questions surrounding the 49ers offense, but a ton of weapons surround the offense as well. Let's get into it all right after this. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, SDS? Good to see you on this Thursday afternoon. Another dog day of the summer, but hey, that just means we are one day closer to training camp. Check the box, check the list. Another day closer. Thank goodness. But until then, we're going to continue to quantify what this team is and what we think they can be. And one of the things with this team is, again, we understand quarterback rules around here, but you got to take a step back and you got to look at how this roster is constructed. You got to look at the way everyone is entering this season, where they're at in the season, and why we could see the most explosive season from not only just like Kyle Shanahan, but just everyone involved, which begs the question. Again, I talked about this yesterday a little bit, but it got me thinking even further because I put it out on Twitter and all that stuff. Is if you look at each individual player, specifically Kittle, CMC, Ayuk, and Debo, if I had to ask you today, are those guys 1,000-yard receivers? Again, you got a tight end, 2 wide receivers, and a running back. All of them have gone over 1,000 yards in their career. And if I asked you, can any of those guys go over 1,000 yards next year? I would probably say it would be 100% yes. All those guys can go over 1,000 yards. Can all 4 go over 1,000 at the same time? That is a big ask. It's definitely not a likelihood, but it could be something that if all things go as planned, the 49ers could be in for a massive offensive explosion next year. Shout out DJ, appreciate the super chat. Says smash that like button, SDS. Woo woo, let's go. Good to see DJ in here. SDS OG dropping the super chat on your boy. Appreciate that, DJ. So let's get into it, shall we? So we talked about this yesterday. It all starts with who the quarterback's going to be, right? Because we have to know if you're going to be a receiving threat, who's getting you the football. And as we have discussed yesterday, it does definitely appear and is trending towards the San Francisco 49ers likely going to be rocking with Brock Purdy as their starting quarterback. All things are pointing to Brock Purdy being able to go week 1 against the Steelers on the road. And so I think that's how we're looking at it at this particular stage in the game. And so with those guys and with what they bring to the table, the San Francisco 49ers are probably the most stacked that they have ever been offensively under Kyle Shanahan. I mean, you have a rejuvenated Deebo Samuel. I've talked about this. I think Deebo's going crazy this year. I've been down on Deebo in the past. I've hyped up Brandon Ayuk quite a bit because I definitely believe that Ayuk is a little bit underrated and just hasn't gotten the opportunities. And but I do believe that Debo Samuel is gearing up to just go insane this year. I think we're going to see a resurgence from Debo Samuel. Not only that, but you have Christian McCaffrey, who's gone for 1,000 before in his career with the Carolina Panthers. He is capable of going for 1,000, right? So now we're going to look at CMC with a full offseason. We're going to look at CMC fully integrated into this offense, fully integrated into this culture, fully integrated as a leader. And again, being able to probably work with Kyle and be like, hey, man, here's a little bit more input and how we can make this offense even more dynamic next year. So I think the sky is the limit right now for those guys. And of course, George Kittle. I think this is a really big year for George Kittle. It might be, I don't know what the future holds for George, but I know like right now, like this George has an opportunity to absolutely take advantage of this season and put it all together. So George, as we know, has gone over 1,000 yards a couple times. And when you look at the weapons, you look at who the guys are surrounding, likely Brock Purdy and what he was able to do last year. I mean, you can see he was graded 13th out of 39 available graded quarterbacks last year over the 8-game span in which he played and never lost a game. But you got Brandon Ayuk. Christian McCaffrey was the second ranked running back out of 60. You got Kyle Juszczyk leading the way as the offensive weapon, right? He's going to lead the way for the run game and things like that. But George Kittle was your second ranked tight end in the league, according to PFF. And I really do think that these guys are going to be able to take steps forward. And with the way everything is going to align and the way that Brock Purdy has operated the offense, with the San Francisco 49ers, I think there's only room for improvement there. I think Brock is going to be able to take the offense to another level. And as a result, you're going to be able to see everyone's production take a step forward as well. So, with that being said, I think when a lot of people hear 1,000 yards receiving, right? That's kind of like the milestone, the benchmark for like receivers in the NFL. Can they hit that? All that good stuff. But for that to actually happen, basically these guys need to get about 60 yards a game receiving. And you think about it, can Debo Samuel get 60 yards a game? Can CMC get about 60 yards a game? Can Ayuk and Kittle all get 60 yards a game for an entire 17 game span? And you would think, yeah, maybe, probably. I mean, that's 240 yards a game for, let's say, Brock Purdy. 240 yards a game. You extrapolate that, times 17 seasons, that's 4,000 yards. Brock Purdy goes for 14 or 4,000 yards. Obviously, other people are going to get some targets. Juwan Jennings, Kyle Juszczyk, Cameron Latu, Braden Willis. There's going to be other guys who are going to get the rock, right? There are going to be other guys who are going to contribute outside of the big four for the San Francisco 49ers. But 60 yards a game from all four of those guys, because there's going to be games where CMC is going to go for over 100, Kittle's going to go for over 100, Ayuk's going to go for over 100, Debo's going to go for over 100. It's just going to happen. we don't know if they're all going to do it, like all four of them are going to go for 100 at once. That's not going to happen. But to start to quantify like what it will take for all four of those guys to go for 1,000 yards, again, you get the added game. There's 17 games now, roughly breaks out to approximately 60 yards a game. Can they do that in this scheme that is predicated on getting the ball out quickly with Brock Purdy coming back into the mix? One of the things that we saw was the resurgence of the screen game. So yards after catch, of course, we have a yak machine right now with this offense, the weapons that are in this offense. So when we ask the question, can the San Francisco 49ers sustain an offense that has four 1,000-yard receivers on the year? I think the answer is yes, they can. But will they? Will the San Francisco 49ers produce that much? Will the 49ers explode? Will Brock Purdy go for over 4,500 yards or passing? I think for all four of those guys to do that, I mean, I really think Brock would have to approach close to 5,000 yards passing on the year. That's a big task. That's a big task coming off UCL reconstructive surgery. But you look at the way the offense is run, you look at the way the ball was distributed under Kyle Shanahan with Brock Purdy through that 8-game stretch. You saw the explosion that came from George Kittle in terms of his production. You saw Brandon Ayuk targeted more. And again, for guys like CMC and Debo Samuel, it's like basically padding the stat sheet in a sense, right? Because the screen game is an extension of the run game. And so if you're effectively running the ball, but you get receiving stats, right? Because it's quick passes, it's catch and shoot, catch and shoot. Uh, JC says, "Hell no." It's a big task. It's a big task. I do think though, I do think that this is could be a potentially a likely outcome. All four, it's going to be difficult, right? It's going to be difficult for all four to hit that mark, but it does feel like three can. It definitely does feel like three of those guys can. But what's going to be interesting to see, it's like all these weapons right now are in the prime of their career. CMC, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and Kittle. Who ultimately produces the most? Let's do this exercise, and I'm going to need your participation in the chat. Who is going to have the most receiving yards out of those four? Who is going to have the biggest season out of the big four in regards to receiving production? We're going to stick on receiving production because that's kind of the basis of the question is who will have the biggest receiving output on the year out of these gentlemen, these scholars, these learned doctors. It could go a lot of different ways. It could go a lot of different ways. But let me see here. So if we look back at last year, the heck? Hold on one second. That is not accurate. Anyways, let me see what's going on the chat. I see BA, Kittle, Brandon Kittle, Debo, CMC, followed by BA, Debo, then Kittle. Debo because of targets. CMC, Ayuk, Kittle at 1,200 plus yards. Ooh, BA without a doubt. BA's a dog. Ayuk, he wants big money. Yep. All these guys want money. Not necessarily. Debo got his money, but Debo's playing for pride, which is going to be, I think, fascinating. I see Kittle, Debo, CMC, air yards, Ayuk most receptions, Debo 1,200 all purpose, CMC 1,000 receiving yards. So CMC is going for 1,000, Kittle with 10 touchdowns. BA will have more touchdowns, but Debo has more yards. Ayuk and Debo go for 1,000 receiving. CMC rushes for more than 1,000. Kittle around 700. So it does appear that the consensus in the chat believes that Brandon Ayuk will have the most production from a receiving yards standpoint, which I don't necessarily disagree. I think I see this is my problem sometimes is like you guys know me, I'm a big player evaluator. Like I like evaluating talent, but sometimes I get ahead of the talent. So like I think heading into 2021, I was my bold prediction was Brandon Ayuk was going to go for 1,400 receiving yards. Obviously that didn't happen. But I think what we've all come to learn and see is that Brandon Ayuk is more than capable of putting up that type of production. But the offense hasn't really been geared towards getting him that type of production. So it is going to be fascinating to see though because it did feel like even though the 49ers still ran their base offense, right? They still ran the football, predicated on running the football, doing all those different types of things. But it felt like a lot. The screen game, again, the screen game came back. Felt like they're executing more play actions, more naked boots. It just felt like they're with Brock Purdy. Kyle trusted Brock to execute the passing game more than we had seen with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think that's what's going to be the most fascinating thing about it is what ultimately they're going to look like with a full year of likely Brock Purdy at the wheel. So in 8 games, what did Brock Purdy put up last year? In 8 games, Brock Purdy threw for 1,374 yards. 1,374 yards divided by 8. So he didn't throw for a ton of yards on the year when he came in. So he was averaging 171 per game. But his touchdown percentage was 7.6 in comparison to 5.2 by Jimmy Garoppolo. He threw 13 touchdowns on the year, 4 interceptions. So it is going to be interesting to see the quarterbacks on the year for the San Francisco 49ers, again, because we had Christian McCaffrey counts for some quarterback yards because he had the touchdown against the Rams. Josh Johnson counts as well. So for the 5 players who threw footballs for the San Francisco 49ers in 2022, they threw for 4,000 yards. 30 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and that's all 5 of those guys. Obviously, majority of the work came between Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think what's going to be fascinating to see is what this offense looks like with one quarterback the whole way through. And I'm praying to the football gods that we get that. But again, the offense can sustain, I think, a 4,500 yard passer. I mean, what did Matt Ryan do? Let's look at that really quick. What did Matt Ryan throw for with Kyle Shanahan? That was that 2019 or 2018? It was 2018. Matt Ryan, again, who very serviceable quarterback, has obviously produced a ton over his career. But with Kyle Shanahan in 2018, Matt Ryan threw for 4,944 yards. And when you look back at that offense, right, you had prime Julio Jones. I know Taylor Gabriel was used a ton in that offense. You also had Mohamed Sanu in his prime. I think your running backs. What were the running backs back then? It's on the tip of my tongue. Devontae Freeman. I think he had prime Devontae Freeman at that time. So Kyle Shanahan's offense can do that. And I think Brock Purdy presents a quarterback who could be the closest thing to kind of Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan has a stronger arm, could probably push the ball downfield a little bit better. Could spin it probably a little bit better at that stage in his career. I mean, obviously Matt Ryan was in like year 9 or something like that, year 10, and he had put up a ton of seasons over 4,500 yards. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 seasons with 4,500 plus passing yards prior to that. So he definitely had a background to do so, but it is going to be interesting. It's an interesting question. I think if we had to answer it honestly, we're probably saying no, all 4 guys aren't going for 1,000. But I think we all agree that they're all capable of going for 1,000. So it will be really fascinating to see who those guys are going to be. So let's say, based on the chat believes Brandon Ayuk's going for 1K. Who's going to be the second guy going for 1K? Let's say I think we've established that 3 may seem more likely. 2 probably something that we could actually peg, right? We could definitely say 2 guys in this offense are going for 1,000 yards. So if Brandon Ayuk is the first, who's going to be the second? And this one's going to be interesting because I think if we have BA crossed off the list, who's going to be the second guy, right? Who's going to be the second biggest producer from a receiving yards perspective? And again, you have to take in account this doesn't have air yards doesn't really matter to me in this offense. Big throws downfield of 45 plus yards. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is getting the ball out quickly, accurately, effectively, and efficiently to allow these weapons that you have to make guys miss, get blockers in front, and really let these guys cook. So who's that going to be? Who's the number 2 guy that is going to produce behind Brandon Ayuk? Because right now, Brandon Ayuk is the leader in the clubhouse for receiving production. But who is going to be number dos. Uh, Kittle, right off the bat. CMC, Kittle, CMC or Debo. Jawan, 1K only on third downs, though. Purdy loved him, some tight end action. That was hugely due in part to, I also believe, CMC and the gravity that CMC presents. You just put CMC in the flat, defenses automatically have to pay attention to him. He can really open up the middle of the defense for guys like Kittle because defenses have to pay attention to CMC. And if Debo Samuel can get back to that 2021 level, you're going to have two players that can play behind the line of scrimmage that defenses are going to have to pay attention to. And with the resurgence of the screen game under Brock Purdy, you can make the case that George Kittle will be more open than he even was last year. And Purdy did love to find Kittle. So Kittle is a realistic option, in my opinion, to be that next biggest producer. CMC rushes for 1K, but I don't think he gets 1K receiving. Again, Kittle, CMC, Purdy, and Kittle connection legit. Debo has said he's going to put up good tape this year. I think Debo's going to explode too. It has to be Debo, Kittle, 999, and 11 touchdowns. I see what you did there. RIP Noties. Justin says Kittle. Happy birthday to Justin. I saw it was your birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to the sourdough boy. Happy birthday, my guy. SDS, that's not, I don't know. What am I looking for? Especially with the run first offense, depending on how our O line performs, I think Kittle gets 1K. Oh yeah, that's the thing is that with the way this offense works, the way everything comes together, everything should be open. There should be someone open on every play. That's the beauty of like why I'm excited for Brock because what Brock is really good at and can still take steps forward and improve on is finding the open receiver, finding the right guy, finding the right throwing lane, doing all those different types of things. And it doesn't have to be this crazy, like Madden style, like, the Mahomes, like, no look throws 40 yards downfield across body. Like, none of that exists. Like, none of that has to happen at all. What Brock has to do to be successful in this offense is just operate it. And people don't give credit to that. Like people take away from Brock Purdy's ability to just execute the offense. That's not something that is discussed in a way where you're like, oh yeah, cool. Like Brock knows how to can step in day one and execute this insanely difficult offense as a rookie and be able to elevate the offense, right? But I imagine it's going to happen yet again. And once he gets more comfortable playing in the system, playing in the NFL, playing against defenses and what defenses are going to try to throw at him, once they've got enough tape on him, I think they're going to be able to play chess and be able to scheme things open because they have so many weapons and all all the different things. Um, so definitely looking forward to seeing how this stuff continues to evolve. I think it's going to be a really, really strong year for the 49ers offense. Again, the reason why the question's being asked is more so the fact that I think this offense is going to explode. Like, I really do believe that this offense is going to go absolutely ape poop crazy next year. Obviously, thinking that Brock Purdy is going to be the main guy, but regardless, it really doesn't matter. The offense is going to be crazy. The O line, I think, on the interior is going to improve, and because of that improvement, teams are still going to be ultra threatened by the run. They're still going to have 6, 7, 8-man boxes to try to stop the run, and then they're just going to dice them up everywhere else. This offense, man, is I if you can get the Brock Purdy plus is going to be arguably one of the best offenses in the NFL. So, is it a far fetched to believe that you could have 4 1,000-yard receivers in one offense? Probably. But the reason the question again is being asked is because someone's going for 1,000. Someone's going to blow up. Who's that person going to be? But I think the whole offense in general is going to go crazy, 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 crazy. So I'm looking forward to this, man. I think the 49ers are really going to surprise some people. It's hard to surprise some people, right? When I think the media has them highly ranked. But I don't know. Is the fan base going to be surprised? Because I still see people arguing about the quarterbacks, man. Is the fan base going to be surprised if this offense comes out and balls out with Brock Purdy at the helm? Uh, I don't know. I can't decide. I can't decide what this fan base thinks of this team. Feels like the 49ers fan base is the most critical of their own team outside of like national pundits or anything like that. I'm not sure I've seen them. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I'm in these other fan bases, but it was funny. I commented yesterday on a Chargers video because the Chargers posted an interception from Justin Herbert. Now, it was Derwin James making an incredible interception. But could you imagine if the 49ers posted a clip to Twitter or Instagram of Brock Purdy or Trey Lance or Sam Darnold throwing an interception? Could you imagine the discourse that would spiral from one just clip of one of the quarterbacks, doesn't matter who, just throwing an interception? It would be wild. Meanwhile, Chargers fans didn't even care. They didn't even bat an eye. They didn't even say anything about it because they know what their quarterback is. They know how good Derwin James is. They didn't even care. I was like, wow, it's definitely different. Definitely different from what we're used to over here. But regardless, regardless of what's happening with the quarterback, the 49ers offense is about to go crazy, man. It all starts up front, right? Starts with the trenches, starts with the big boys, starts with those guys holding their own, creating running lanes, all that stuff. And it's gonna translate. It's gonna percolate from that. It's gonna percolate from that. Once the run game gets cooking and they start keying on run, then they're gonna start building off that. And I think Kyle's gonna cook this year. I'm trying to temper expectations for this season. I'm trying to not get too ahead of myself because I am an optimistic type person when it comes to like, you know, if there's multiple ranges of outcomes, I'm likely going to try to lean on the more positive ranges of outcome. And I believe the 49ers have a chance for success. I believe the 49ers have an opportunity to be able to do a lot of work, a lot of damage. Will we be able to run the ball to the right is the biggest question for me. Uh, I think so. I think so. Um, Burford absolutely can uh, be a plus run blocker for sure. Colton McKivitz can be a plus run blocker as well. But, you know, I mean, I think you look at Burford was graded 67th out of 77 available guards. Obviously, Colton McKivitz wasn't graded because he didn't play all that much. But he played, what did he play? 71 snaps, right? Colton McKivitz played 71 snaps. He had a pass blocking grade of 85.9, which was only a couple points below Trent Williams. His run blocking grade, however, was a 57.7. Aaron Banks got graded out at a 57.2, and Spencer Burford got graded out 49.1. And again, it's PFF grades. How much does that matter? I wouldn't say the grades match the tape because the grades point a picture that they were atrocious. Now, I don't think they were elite by any stretch of the imagination, but they weren't that bad. Like they weren't they weren't they had their struggles for sure. They had their missteps for sure. They had a lot of the problem with the 49ers offensive line last year is it was just like it was the continuity between all five. Each little guy made a mistake in their own individual vacuum, but it was like it would kind of just be like a one play, Banks would take the wrong angle, and the next play, you know, Burford wouldn't pin the defensive lineman correctly, or the next play, Brendel wasn't able to dig out the nose tackle, or it was just like in consecutive order. It wasn't like one guy just consistently making a mistake. It was just kind of like as a group, they weren't super fluid. But I think that does change next year. I do think they get more fluid, and for the right side, they should be able to run to the right side. I mean, they were running a lot of trap plays and counters to the right, which is, I think, how they would neutralize. People think run to the right, it's got to be tackles, stretch or reach blocking defensive ends. I mean, they run a lot of counters to the right that allows the right tackle and right guard to block down. And then you kick out with a guard, you kick out with the tackle on the left side, pulling from the left side. So they're still running to the right, but I don't know. I think there's this notion that they don't run to the right side, which I don't necessarily believe, but I do think that the 49ers will be able to run to the right for sure. How effective? That'll be an interesting question to see because I think it's predicated on Spencer Burford improving, and we just don't know with Colton McKivitz yet. So we gotta wait and see. Gotta wait and see. Bubbly says Colton is a step up in pass pro and maybe a little step back in the run game. Probably. I think that's fair. I don't think we're going to see Colton get beat. Like, he's going to get beat. Let's be honest. Colton's going to get beat. Every offensive lineman gets beat. But I don't think it's going to be like the highlight worthy. Like, the problem that Mike McGlinchey faced was that he wasn't a bad offensive lineman. It was that he gave up highlight worthy mistakes. And because of that, that's the tone of the narrative surrounded by McGlinchey, was that he was atrocious because let's face it, we only pay attention to offensive linemen when they make mistakes or get penalties. And unfortunately for Mike, he had highlight worthy mistakes. And so that is where his kind of narrative was generated. So I think Colton McKivitz will kind of be able to streamline that a little bit. I don't think he's going to be perfect. I don't think he's going to come out here and just be this total upgrade. I think it was the 49ers offensive line coach, Chris Forster, flat out said the 49ers are going to take a hit in run blocking going from McGlinchey to Colton McKivitz, which again is to be anticipated. McGlinchey is one of the better run blocking right tackles in the NFL. He just had the highlights of getting beat on the edge, but you know 49ers could have went a couple ways. They could have went with Freeland in the draft. They could have went with Saldivari in the draft for additional depth at right tackle. They chose not to. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out next year. Because if they're going to have to rely on guys like Jalen Moore or Matt Pryor or Leroy Watson, I just don't have a ton of confidence in that right now. And again, I don't know how much confidence I'd have in a rookie either. But with the rookies, we know there's some upside there. So we'll see how it plays out. But I still think the 49ers offense should take big steps forward. I think the 49ers should. I agree. I agree with Chili. It's a hard question. The question is more being presented in the way, and I kind of talked about it earlier, of just all four guys are capable. Could it happen? Could all four of them go for 4,000? Probably not. But all four are definitely capable of going for 1,000. It's just which ones is it going to be? So we'll find out, man. We will find out. For tomorrow, I don't think I'm gonna have a live tomorrow. I can't believe that this time has already passed. It's going to be my youngest son's first birthday tomorrow. Like that trips me out a little bit that it's already been a year since my wife went into preterm labor, and tomorrow he was born at 27 weeks. So probably gonna go do something fun with the family tomorrow, but absolutely crazy to me that he's already won. Like, can you believe that was a year ago? My goodness. I forget. I think we spent like over what we spent over like 80, I think it was like 87 days in the NICU. What a wild dude. I was going to training camp. I was going straight from training camp home to do lives, then straight to the hospital in Walnut Creek. That was such a wild experience. And shout out to all you guys, man. Shout out to the OG SDS, man. You guys really helped me through that experience, that time. It was definitely one of the hardest things that me and my family have ever had to experience, and you guys really helped a lot because obviously, I still had to work, I still had to do what I had to do, and you guys really provided so much support and just really helped me through that scenario. Uh, but it's just crazy that was a year ago. It was already a year ago. What the heck happened? Time absolutely flies, man. Time flies. Unbelievable. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But thank you guys. I appreciate all the kind words in the chat. Appreciate all the early birthday wishes for the boy. What a crazy whirlwind of a year it's been. Um, let me see. I might have just gone the email, so I could maybe do a little exclusive announcement for the squad because I'm not going to be on live tomorrow, probably. So let me see here. Let me see here. I think it's official. Um, all right, I think it is official. So you guys might get an early announcement. Uh, let's see. So what? This Sunday's Father's Day, correct? So Sunday's Father's Day, 6/18. This is just a really cool situation because I'm gonna give you the backstory for. No, I'll tell you. I will be hosting a stream on the Bleacher Report app this Sunday. So I will be basically, on Bleacher Report hosting a live stream. So what's really cool about that for me is that it's a full circle moment. It's just like this huge full circle moment for like the journey that this is of, streaming, posting content, 49ers, all that type of stuff, because it all started for me in the Bleacher Report comment section. Like, I would be in articles, I would respond to articles with my own basically articles. um it was like the first time where like I realized, like, okay, like I got a passion for this. I think I can do content, things like that. It all started in the Bleacher Report comment section, and to be hosting a live on Bleacher Report on the Bleacher Report app is pretty cool. Definitely a really cool full circle moment to be able to do that. So I'm going to be hosting on Bleacher Report this Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, I think I'm going to be doing a 53-man roster projection. So we'll do a 53-man roster breakdown of what I think of who's going to make it. And it would be super cool to see the SDS in the chat, vibing in the chat. If we had a SDS migration on the stream on a Sunday, that would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. If we could get the Bleacher Report chat popping with SDS, that would be pretty cool. It'd mean a lot to me. If you guys were able to come over and vibe with me, I'll be a little nervous, right? I'll be a little nervous. It'll be my first time on Bleacher Report, but it would be really cool to have the squad with me. And of course, I'll post out stuff day of. So if you guys follow me on social, you'll see it and stuff like that. But it would be super cool for you guys to vibe with me. It would mean a lot to me to have the SDS with me. So that, like I said, it's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday. I think you have to download the Bleacher Report app, and it's in the app in the 49ers category. But like I said, I'll post out heads up and links before on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that type of stuff. But yeah, man, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. About to be on Bleacher Report. It's been a wild, man. It's been wild to see where this stuff has taken me. I've hosted a live event on the 49ers platform. I had a weekly interview on Cron 4. We had a regular spot on 95.7 The Game. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy where this 49ers stuff has taken me. I don't know where it's going to take me from this point on. I don't know. I don't know what's going to come of it, but now we're going to be on Bleacher Report. And again, that's just, it's a nostalgic type thing for me to be hosting a show on a platform that I really looked at as kind of getting my start at. So pretty cool, man. Trying to do whatever I can. The independent grind is a freaking grind, but again, can't do without you guys. Can't do it without the SDS. Your guys' support throughout all this has been huge, and I appreciate you guys. Of course, I say it all the time. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thank you guys for always vibing. Hopefully we get you guys vibing with me this Sunday. Niners need to give me a credential. Hey, man, that's been the goal, but like at a certain point, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Hopefully I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pushing for it, but they are pretty tight with who they let in there, and we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever I don't know if they'll let this ginger in there. But regardless, we're going to keep, because we can keep doing content with it or without it, which is what we've been doing this whole time. So I appreciate you guys as always. Y'all the best. Hopefully to see you guys on Sunday. Appreciate all the good energy and the vibes, all that good stuff. Like I said, follow me on like Twitter and YouTube and all that type of stuff. Or not YouTube, whatever. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll post out links on Sunday, all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all joining me. But grab your cookies on the way out. Smash that like button. Hopefully I'll see all the SDS on Sunday. And in advance, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I appreciate all you guys. And hey, I'll see you Sunday on Bleacher Report. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.